blastmusic247.com. We're changing the industry one artist at a time.
Welcome back to another episode of Moments with Myra. Today, I'm so excited to sit down with a man whose story is all about faith, vision, and determination. Joe Watson, also known as the Peanut Man. Joe has built his life and his business from the ground up, one step at a time, truly brick by brick. In this conversation, we'll dive into what it means to chase your dreams, overcome your challenges, and create a legacy through hard work and perseverance. Get ready to be inspired by Joe's journey of building dreams brick by brick. Welcome, Mr. Peanut Man. How are you this
Well,
morning?
well, hello there, Myra. I am fine, and thank you for the opportunity to chat with you. I don't do a lot of these. I'm out working, but when I got that text, it said, "Listen, this is what you gonna do." I was like, because I remember you and I having conversations years ago about just following your dream, and I was like, now if Myra she did it, and I can't tell her no, so I'm here. I'm excited.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that so much. And for those of you who don't know, he has been kind of like a business mentor to me of sorts. When I have a lot of different ideas about different things, I can go to him and he gives me the honest truth of, yeah, that'll work. No, that won't work. This is what you need to do. And I just greatly appreciate you and your time because I know, honey, and anybody who knows the Peanut Man, we know that he be out there working on his grind. So this means everything to me. So
Okay.
now, for those who may not know you, who is Joe Watson and how did you become the Peanut Man?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I'm still working to figure all that out. No, um, I stand on the shoulders of R.T. Watson. He was the original Peanut Man. That's my father. Um, I'm a simple family man. I'm about doing what I believe God gave me to do, reaching my full potential, just relying on God and, you know, what He gives me every day. So, I'm just a simple person. I'm out in the community a lot, but, you know, I'm, I'm really not like that person, like got to hang out on the weekends and got to be at this party. You know,
Mhm.
I'm I'm out when I'm working. I'm out when I'm coaching or talking to folk or ministering or. But I'm just a simple old guy. I like to have all my children around when they were small. I like having my kids around now. I like having my grandkids around, and I'm happy if chicks chasing me around the house telling me what to do. And if, or if my grandson, I get a phone call and he looks at me and smiles. I'm a simple man, Myra. I just believe that we all have the ability that no one can tell Myra because she's Myra, you can't do this, or no one can tell Joe, well, you can't do that. People in your community never done that. I don't believe that, and I got all that from RT Watson. So on the back of my peanut jacket, I said I'm a product of RT Watson. I'm a very proud product of RT Watson. I'm one of six children, and I'm the youngest son, and it's that's who I am.
Well, I love that. And I love the way you described your faith and how you trust God. And basically, you're being obedient.
Right.
You listen, you think it out, you're being obedient. And I think that that's so important. So, what inspired you to expand your business from what your father started to where you are now? What was the very first step that you took when you looked at expansion?
I was married. I'm married, Myra. My wife. She said, "Where's your money?" You want to know the real deal? My wife was like, "Like, where's the money?" Um, the old saying, old folk used to say, "Need more, make you work more."
Hmm.
And what really inspired me, I started, and a lot of people don't realize, they look at me now. I started with salted peanuts. We called them blanched peanuts, red skin peanuts, and no salt in the shell. That's all I started with. And um, as I would go, people were like, well, Peter, man, you don't have cashews. And I kept hearing that. And I remember, I'll never forget this guy named Ted Evans, used to run an insurance agency. And I believe that when you step out, God put people in your life that you need. You can't see them until you step out, though, right? You can't write that business plan and you see everybody, because it doesn't work like that. And
Mhm.
I was selling peanuts then for like 50 cents. And I was telling Ted, I was like, man, I don't know what to charge for cashews, because I was afraid to charge too much. He said, Joe, let me tell you something. He said, don't you ever count another person's money in their wallet. You put
Mm.
your price on it and you go with it. You find the folk that want it. It's up to them to pay whatever you put on it. And so, I added cashews, and then people start saying, the customers, kind of like you, Myra, your
Mhm.
customers start, most of us start out and we want 1,000 customers and we can't even handle it. You get one or two, three, four, five, maybe, they're going to teach you some things, right?
Mhm.
And some of them's going to be challenging and some of them's going to be beautiful. But your customers, they say, well, hey, Peter, man, you don't have cashews, so I got cashews. They said, Peter, man, you don't have this, so I got that. They said, Peter, man, you don't have that. And now we went from 3 items to probably selling over 40, 50 items now, simply because the customer said, well, what about this? Now you already have the customer. So now you're not going to buy all this inventory that you don't know if it's going to work or not, you know.
Mhm.
So as I got into the business, my faith, I needed more money. So I had to start to look at, well, how can I get more money? I was not, and there's nothing wrong with the statement I'm about to make. And I'm not hating, or there's nothing wrong with getting another job. But my thing was, well, if I get another job, am I taking away from what I would be putting in to my own, right? And you got to hustle, you got to do what you got to do. And so I was just trying to come up with things that would allow me to stay. Brittany, our daughter, I call her Boo Boo, and she was at North Carolina Central, and I wrote an article one day, and I said I got a part-time job, and Robin, my wife, for 39 years, we just celebrated 39 years of marriage on this past Saturday, September 20th. She said, "What you mean you got another job?" I said, "I got to do more work with the peanuts because Brittany is in school. I need more money." And back then, I didn't hardly work on Sundays. But I would go around. I had a group of people when the 4 years that Brittany was at North Carolina Central, I had a group of people on Sundays. I would go to their house and they would buy. I had a few liquor houses in there. I mean, it was the best. When I look back, those were the golden years, right?
Mhm.
And it got me through. So, it was the business, kind of like what you're just like, okay, well, if I'm doing this, would y'all like this?
Mhm.
And they're like, well, yeah. And so you got your base there, So that's kind of how I got to where I am now, and even now I'm still looking and seeking and asking God for, like, what do I do now? What do I do now? So
So when you think back to your childhood or early years, did you ever see yourself as an entrepreneur?
of course I didn't know it at the time, but my father, as a parent, we have a lot of influence, a
Mhm.
lot, and a lot of responsibility, right? My father had a fifth grade education, but he was a man that was going to do things his way. And he always had a vision of owning his own business. If you would allow me, I'd like to share a story with you about him that still inspires me today. In 1942, my father was he went he went down south somewhere to get a job. He walked in. He said, "Hey, listen, I need a job. I don't really mind what it is. I just need a job." He said, this white man walked around the corner. I walked around the counter. He said, "Well, if we were hiring, we would not hire your kind." My father said he left out and he told the chef in 1942. He said, "I'm going to start a business that my children's children, if they're willing to work it, will be able to work it." Let's fast forward 1959, March 6th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. My dad started the Peanut House, right? So for folk who say, "Well, I've been trying to do this," and, people say, "Well, you've been trying to do that and it ain't worked." Now, from 1942 to 1959, you do the math. And we're still going strong today. We've had some bumps and bruises. The physical Peanut House kind of closed down, but our contract business is still going. My father, when I was 9 years old, he didn't teach me how to cut grass. So I don't know how to cut grass. I don't know how to fix the toilet. I don't know all that maintenance stuff, Myra. I don't do that, right? And I don't have a big ego. Miss Watson, like, "Oh, that toilet running. I'm gonna have to look at it." I'll be like, "Okay, baby, that ain't me."
Mm-hmm.
My father had me out selling peanuts. I thought it was just, and he and I never had a conversation about what he saw in me to groom me. But he would take me to buy product with him. He taught me the business backhand, right? I remember my father would go and buy 500 pounds of peanuts. He had a wad of money. So when he walked out, he didn't owe that man nothing. He said, "Now I got to go back and sell to get my money back," right? So he positioned me to deal with people that did not look like me, to talk to people, uh, not to be too aggressive. And so then I didn't understand. But when I got older, I'm like, well, wait a minute. I used to walk up and down Stratford Road. I used to ride the bus, go selling peanuts like 9, 10 years old, right? Back then, it wasn't like it is now. But I mean, you could, it was cool. And as I got older, went to work. My dream was to own a string of radio stations. When I graduated from Shaw University, my dream was to own a string of radio stations. But God had other plans. I mean, the brand, the Peanut Man, has probably made me more famous than Joe Archer could ever make me, right? And I had and I didn't. It was never intent like, let me be famous, let me walk and everybody know me. I was like, I gotta survive. I gotta do this. I mean, how am I gonna make this happen? So I can't say then I would like want to be an entrepreneur, but when I became of age, I was like, wait a minute, I want to build a business that's gonna take care of me. It's gonna take care of my family, and it's gonna leave something if they choose to work in it. That was my father's thing. He says, now, when my father died, you know how some people go and they sit around the lawyer's office, and the lawyer say, "Myra, mother left you this." Myra, we ain't had to go to a lawyer's office. So when daddy died, we already knew, okay, now if this peanut house gonna go, you got to go to work every day. And he always said the money that you need is in the people pocket. So you got to go out there and get it out of their pocket. And that's what we do. That's what we did then. That's what we do now. So looking back, my father shaped me because I mean, me. I can come in. We're at the beauty salon. I can come in. I can read the room. I can see, well, okay, are we gonna cut up today? Or we not gonna cut up? It might be something on your mind today. It was the little things that my father taught me because I didn't stay in one neighborhood. I was able to talk to folk and just really kind of be able to read people and sell my product. So, now, well, ain't nothing else for me to do but work for the Peanut Man. He won't pay me, but he at least he let me go and have fun. He been telling me he gonna pay me for years, but he just say, well, it's a little short this week. Go back and I got you next week, and I keep going back, and but it's a beautiful thing, Myra. Robin and I sent 2 children to college. No student loans. I didn't get a second job when my brother told me he loved me, but he told me, he said, we call each other Bubba. He said, Bubba, when Daniel went to UNC Charlotte, he said, Bubba, you're going to get that boy out of school without no student loans, you're going to have to get you a part-time job. I didn't say nothing. because I knew I wasn't going to do that. I started to inquire of God. I was like, you know what, God, you blessed me to pay my part with Brittany when she was at North Carolina Central. And I tell folk all the time, I've missed some payments. I've been late on the mortgage or two. You know, I've been late on rent or two. But the 4 years that Daniel was at UNC Charlotte, I never missed a payment when it was time. When he walked out, he owed zero. I mean, we got FAFSA, but you know, there's part we had to pay. And I did it all. I did it. I mean, every day I would get up. It's like, you know what? I got to do this. I got to make this money. I remember Robin was like, well, Joe, I'm gonna take this bill. I said, no, we this is what we're gonna. You tell me when I have to have the money. You tell me how much money I have to have. She's the CFO of our family, and I'm going to show. And I showed up. You know, I mean, it was it was a struggle, but Daniel's married with a son, but he doesn't have a student loan. Now, he's got some bills, but he's not a student loan. Brittany is married with a daughter, and she don't have a student loan from North Carolina Central because Robin and I, you know, made it happen. So, you know, I mean, you can do it. I mean, it's nothing that can't be done. You just got to find that way, you know, I mean, and God put you out there. It's like, okay, well, show me. Show up every day. You show up every day, I'll show up. You show up 2 days, I show up 2 days. But you're not going to get the credit for 7 days if you show up for 2 days.
And I think that that's an important message, because sometimes even when we are following in our family's footsteps, if they have a business or whatever the case may be, this generation sometimes, I think, expects everything to be so easy and that there's not any work that they have to put into it. And so in those moments when things were kind of rough and things weren't going as planned, how do you stay motivated?
I just kept believing, Myra. And the reality is, so mom and dad made their money. You got to come in and make your money. Mom and daddy created the name, but you got to come in and keep that name alive, right? It's first of all, you got to be doing what you enjoy, right? I never got into this thinking about the money. I always told Robbie when I married her, I said, you know, I'm gonna take care of you. My goal then, and even now, was always to be able to provide for my family. You know, to take, you know, and there's no knock on Myrtle Beach. You know, when we got up a little bit, I was like, you know what? I worked too hard to go on vacation just to Myrtle Beach. I want to go where it's some clear water. So it was motivation. You know, I wanted our children to see things, and I didn't want them to say, well, you know, your daddy sell peanuts, so you know, surely you can't go out the country. You know, your daddy sell peanuts, so surely you can't go to a nice restaurant. You know, so it was those things then, and even now. You know, now, you know, my goal is to be able to walk in one day, because it takes years as you're learning. You know, people think that, you know, you go in business overnight, you're rich. You're not. It takes years, right? My goal is to walk in to ask Miss Watson what you want, and no matter what the price tag is, I'm going to pay for it. That still that still motivates me today, because she was there. I mean, life is good now. I mean, it's better than what it was, but she was there, you know, and probably if I didn't have her, I don't know if we would be having a conversation, because, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, you're gonna get beat up. I mean, it's bottom line. May not come first year, may not come second year, but you're gonna get beat up, because that's the nature of the business. But getting beat up also means that you're growing, right? You know, I'm standing in a parking lot of a big box store that, you know, had to face challenges. Yeah, they got money now, but even you know, now, the more money you make, Myra, the more it costs you. And you just have to keep that same, you know, God is God no matter what. And if you believe in him, and that's where your base is, you know, the challenging times prepare you for the victories, you know, prepare you, you know, not to get My biggest challenge is I don't want to drink my own Kool-Aid. Well, everybody knows the Peanut Man. Yeah, okay. But the Peanut Man still got to show up.
That's right.
Right? Because people move, people die. You can't say, oh, yeah, everybody. No, I'm going to work today. I started out. I've already started picking up supplies. It never ends. You're as good as your last project. That was yesterday.
I
So,
like that.
yeah, yeah.
So, as you've grown, what lessons about leadership and business have stood out to you the most?
You got to be committed. You've got to be committed every day, right? Money, we all make a big deal of money, but money is only a byproduct of success, right? I've learned that I still like to talk to my friends that I've developed over the years that I met on, like you and I met you at Chelsea's, right? Getting your hair done.
Yeah.
I come in there and I miss a couple weeks, and I had come in there and y'all were going to give me the business, all this and that. I want to stay that guy, Myra. I want to, you mentioned earlier about time. Yeah, time gets a little dicey, but I don't want to get too far away from the folk that help me be who I am, right? And as you grow, you take on more responsibilities. I have folk on my team now. I have freelancers, right? But I still, like, they do ball games. I tried to get back to the beauty salons and barbershops on Saturday because, like, oh, Peanut Man, we know football come around. You just forget us, man. You just forget us. And that's all in love. But, you're going to grow. But the key is the people who made you, the people who know you, you want to be true to them. You want to treat people with respect, because, hey, you can be on top of the world today. And tomorrow you walk in your office building. I mean, everything can flip over.
Absolutely.
But if you've been good to people, if you've respected people, now you don't have time to deal with everybody who want to count your money and think that you're this and think that you're that. But you want to be true, treat people the way that you want to be treated as you go up. And then if something does happen, people are like, oh yeah, well, he's still approachable. I can still talk to him. I don't want to walk around. Oh yeah, well, you want to talk to me? Call my secretary. No, you and I talking right now. What do you want to talk about? I got 60 seconds. Tell me what's on your mind. If you can tell me what's on your mind in 60 seconds, I can give you an answer. I can tell you where I am. Right. I just want to be approachable, and I just want to continue to inspire. Because people are watching. Like, I sell at the football field, right? And the babies are, the babies ain't got no filter, right? They say what's on them. So my sister was at the football field selling for me. I was on vacation. This little boy walked up. He said, "Wait, the peanut boy." She said, "Well, the peanut man ain't him." She said, "Well," he said, "Well, wait, the peanut boy at?" She said, "The peanut man on vacation." I got bad. They told me. I said, "Why I gotta be a peanut boy?" He said, "I don't know. You just peanut boy." And then, oh, the little chick come. But where you been? Well, why you go there? Oh, they keep me grounded to realize, because they say whatever's on their mind, But I mean, I love what I do, Myra. And the challenging days, I'm either gonna bump into somebody and we're gonna cut up. And I've learned the challenging days are really just days that God tests us to see, are you really grateful for what I've given you?
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, are you going to come back?
Mm-hmm.
Because this old man told me one time, he said, "Peanut Man, don't worry about what you sell or don't sell Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday." He said, "You may not sell nothing the first part of the week. And the end of the week, one day you can sell more than what you would have sold the entire week. So keep coming back." And I was, so things like that. I mean, but you can't see this stuff, Myra, until you get out there. You got to jump out the tree. You jump out the tree, it's going to be a safety net. You just can't see it before you jump out that tree. So, I think a lot of people are like, well, I got to know. No, you ain't going to know. It's going to be some days that It's not going to work out. It seems like, until you get there and then somebody shows up with just what you need.
Mm.
Then you remember that the next time, hey, I've been here before. Let me continue to trust God. Let me continue, you know, you know, to press forward. You got to keep showing up. That's the key. Just keep showing up.
So, along those lines about keeping showing up, for you to keep showing up,
Mhm.
if you had to give a blueprint for building a dream business, what would be the first bricks that you would tell somebody that they needed to lay?
Show up. You don't know what's going to happen until you show up, because somebody's watching. Show up. Be good. Be happy. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because see, people can tell if you're there for the money, if you're there, people want to know that you are human and you care about them. I've gone to funerals. I've called folk when family members are not doing well. A lot of my peanut route has become my family,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, Over the years, I mean, I watched you for years getting your hair done, and then one day we just start talking.
Mm-hmm.
Then you talked about, you said, well, Mr. Peanut Man, one day I'm gonna open up, I'm gonna do a business. And I was like, if you remember, I said, well, go for it. You was like, yeah, I am. And my thing was, we're just going out there, jump out the tree. And he was like, yeah, but I'm gonna move. I'm gonna move at my pace. So when I read the post this week, there's like, hey, listen, y'all better look out because I'm coming. I have no more pity on y'all. I'm coming. I'm gonna take it. Because what you realize now is what I said then about, just go for it. It's gonna work out. You ain't gonna have it figured out. You can have all the money in the world, Myra, but if you don't show up, what good is it?
Mm. That part
Right?
right there.
Right?
Yeah.
So we have to keep going. And I would just say, show up, because everything else is going to come to you, and it's going to come in the fullness of time. We've been blessed to work every weekend, nearly every weekend. We may have had 1 or 2 weekends off since May, at like football or functions, or in some events we've done double events, right? When I started that, I saw that, but I didn't have the people, I didn't have the money, I didn't have the faith to invest in all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of weeks ago, we went to a game outside of Winston-Salem. I didn't know what we were gonna make. I just believed we were gonna make it, and we did. I hired the freelancers. We put product over there. I'd never been there, right? But because of what I have learned over the years, my faith has grown. I was like, hey, we're going. I was concerned about this past weekend. I was like, man, I need to find something. I need to find something. I got a phone call Monday. Hey, man, we got homecoming. Y'all booked up? You want to come? I said, we'll be there. In the fullness of time, everything falls into place. But to start it, you have to show up. I have to show up, right? And when we show up, everything else, you started, as I recall, you started with your readings. Now
Mm-hmm.
you're doing jewelry, you're doing candles, you're doing, public speaking. You're doing a whole lot of things simply. Now you're like, I'm not playing with y'all anymore. I'm not worried about, I remember you told me one time, I said, well, Myra, you can go ahead and do that. You said, well, and I never, if you recall, I never pushed you when you would tell me stuff that I was like, I see now the stuff that you and I talked about, and I see that you see it now. It's like when I read that post the other day, look, I'm coming for you. There's nothing holding me back. Now, there's nothing holding Myra back. There's nobody out there. Folk can't hold you back. We hold ourselves back. What did I do, Myra?
That was a word right there. I mean,
Oh,
but it means so much to me because you have been there literally from day one, to where I was just thinking about ideas and trying to get out of my comfort zone to do this and trying to get out of my comfort zone to do that. And you always encouraged me. And you were one of the few people that always believed in me and said, you can do it. Like, you was looking at me like, I don't know why you're even hesitant about it. And I appreciate that so much, because you always give me the best advice, the very best advice.
But that's
Now,
what it's about. We can all do it. It's just others have said we can't.
mm-hmm,
And now, full disclosure, you and I both know, and folk who make lists say, I'm going to do that. Now, you got to go through some folk. And everybody that you go through is not going to be way over in Chicago,
yeah,
down in Alabama. Sometimes it might be the person you laying in the bed with.
mm-hmm,
Sometimes it might be your family that watched you. So you have to get through all that and say, but hey, I'm going to do this. I don't fight with nobody. I didn't then, and I definitely don't now, because I believe in it. And if I keep showing up, eventually you're going to see, right? You're going to
mm-hmm,
see. I don't have time. The other thing you were talking about, you were asking about what would you put in? Don't try to explain yourself to folk.
mm,
If folk ain't spending money with you, you ain't got to explain nothing to them.
mm-hmm.
That's wasted time. That makes what they're saying a reality, because you spend an hour trying to convince Myra of something that I don't care what I say, what I do, she ain't gonna believe it anyway. I haven't made any money that hour. I haven't created anything that hour. All I've done was to waste time. So it's like, hey, listen, this is my journey. I'm gonna go on it. You know what you got to do when you got to do it. And if you meet them deadlines, I used to tell Robin when we first got married, she says, well, I'm on boom, 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 boom. I said, baby, if you get everything now, what are you going to have to look for in our latter years?
Mm-hmm.
You get everything now, you ain't going to appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's so simple, but yet people make it so complicated. You know, ain't nothing complicated. You get up and go to work every day,
For somebody else, yeah.
right? And if you get up and go to work for yourself, some things are going to happen. You're going to get new ideas, and the people who are already invested in you are going to say, hey, girl, why don't you do this? Peanut Man, why you don't do this? Peanut Man, why you ain't got no drinks? Oh, I got drinks now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not complicated, but people like, because see, Myra, if you get a business, you have something that no one can determine but God how big it's going to be. No one can come and say, nah, Myra, a reading? Nah, you can't do no readings, cause we don't do that around here. Okay, well, I'm going over there. What? Folk all around the country called you to use your services.
Yep.
Y'all here in Winston, y'all ain't gotta do that. It's okay. My money is coming in my bank account. So if my money coming in my bank account, where it's coming from, does it matter?
That's right.
$100 bill come from Chicago, $100 bill come from Winston-Salem. It's the same, right?
Yep.
All we have to do when we go in business is find the people who believe in us. I don't waste time with people. I don't argue about my prices. These are my prices. You either like them or you don't like them. What we're not going to do is argue about something I control. You're not going to waste my time, right? And those are things that people, unless you go in business, they don't understand it. You got to get there. I mean, you and I can have conversations that maybe somebody who's never been in business. Yeah, but Myra, if you did this, but you've never been in business, you don't understand.
Exactly.
Yeah, it looks simple. Well, no. I got to show up. But when the kids were growing up, every time it was time for us to leave, well, Daddy got to go by the station. Daddy got to go by the office. Yeah, but we can go on vacation, so I need to go do this. Life is good though, Myra. You know that.
So, what do you want your legacy to be? Not just as the Peanut Man, but as Joe Watson.
I want my legacy to be like my father. I want folks to be able to say, you know what? Peanut Man helped me.
Mm-hmm.
Peanut
So,
Man helped.
what's going to be next for you? What's the next brick that you're laying with your business? Next new product? Next new idea? Do you have any ideas of what you want to do next?
Myra, you know what we do as entrepreneurs. We got more ideas than we got time to run them out. You know that. Myra, I'm working. A year or so ago, I asked God for a second car.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted it so it would help the business. And I looked at it, I love this. I could show you my little baby right here. It's scarred all up. It's all dented up, but it gets the job done, right?
Uh-huh.
And I understand. I'm not concerned. Ooh, I got a dent right here on the car. I don't care about that. I want what's in that car. I want to be able to sell what's in that car. And I realized that, some people would help me, but they're not going to put coolers in their car. They're not, they will go make a delivery or they will go sell. But so I said, Lord, bless me with a car. Took me a while. I got one now. And when I ride to an event and one of the team members is driving the other Honda, and I leave that Honda there, and at the end of the day, we come back, we've taken care of folks. That's a very rewarding feeling, right? Because now I'm a small version of Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a small version of UPS. See, every business started with someone saying, hey, you know what? I think I can do this. I'm working on the ways that we can help people who want to work, right? I'm 62. I'm getting older. I have more years behind me of running those fields and running the streets all day than I do in front of me. So I want to be able to provide something that, one day my children or grandchildren look up and say, you know what, Papa or Daddy did this, and, there are media things that I want to bring back around. We do a digital newspaper, I want to do I want to do things that I want to do and know that, you know what, if nobody else says they want to put money in it, I'll put my own money in it and it'll
So
get done.
that being said, how can listeners connect with you and support your business?
Well, I'm old school, Myra. We have a website.
I was working on a website. I was gonna say, don't you have your website?
I do. It's the I got it. What is I can't even the Peanut Man. The Peanut Man of ws.square.site.
Okay.
Right. But I like folk too. My big thing right now, I want to build our local delivery.
Mm-hmm.
You know how back in the day you would call the restaurant and you say, hey, you call 336-391-1497. And that is my number. And you say, listen, I'd like to place an order. And we take your order and we go out and we deliver your order. You pay just like I wanna have a localized delivery in Winston-Salem that you call, we do everything, and then we go deliver your order. Because I'm getting older. I want to be able to, I've got some folk, we do holiday stuff or we do special occasion stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to be the Peanut Man that's not just at the ball game, but the Peanut Man that this past weekend we did like 120 bags of peanuts for a local church that is, it's just going to give them away. I want to take my product and offer it to people in whatever capacity they're working in or what they're doing in. So, you know how we are. We're always coming up with something, Myra. But, I do have a website, but I like folk call and say, hey, listen, Peanut Man, we over here on 3rd Street up. Peanut Man, we're at the beauty salon. Can you come or can you send somebody?
And you'll do it too, because how many times have you got that call when I'm at Chelsea's shop? I'm like, we need some peanuts. We need some snacks. Where are you?
Right. And so I want to be able, because that other car I told you about.
Mm-hmm.
So now I have the other car and I have some folk that I can say, oh, okay, I can't make it, but listen, how long y'all guys gonna be there? What you want? I would love for folk to be able to say, hey, Peanut Man, can you drop off boom, 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 boom on Friday or on, because now I'm creating opportunity for other people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm creating opportunity off peanuts. Planners is a very large brand.
Mm-hmm.
Peanuts, it's a whole lot of money in peanuts. And I don't think that we've scratched the surface yet, right? I want to be when with the holidays coming up, or birthday, you know, you got a coworker, and it's like, well, you know what? I'm gonna get you a bottle of lemonade. I'm gonna get you a bottle of cashews. It's something, it's not overboard, and it's something that's like, oh, you thought about me. It's the simple things in life. I give you a bottle of cashews for your birthday, or just because I thought I would give it to you. In your mind, you're gonna look at me totally different. That's a nice gesture, you know. I want to be that person that, oh yeah, the Peanut Man. Yeah. Girl, where you get them from? Oh, I got it from the Peanut Man. You go in, girl, I know you like this. Boom. So I just want to stay relevant, Myra. And to stay relevant, you got to work every day, right?
Well, and also stay relevant and continue to build relationships.
Right.
And I think that's a beautiful thing.
It's a great thing because one person can turn you on to so many other people.
Mm-hmm.
And you had no idea. It was like, oh yeah, so, but yeah, God's been good to us, and there's still a lot, to do, so I'm out here doing it.
Well, I thank you so much, so very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend a few moments with me. It really, really means a lot. This has been a very inspiring conversation with Joe Watson, the Peanut Man. His story reminds us that no dream is too big when you're willing to put the work in, stay consistent, and keep building brick by brick. I hope today's episode encourages you to keep laying your own foundation, no matter how small the steps may feel. Thank you for tuning in, to Moments with Myra. And until next time, keep believing, keep building, and keep creating the life you dream of.
Gratitude, I've woken up to see another day. It's time to stretch, then meditate. 5 in the morning and young still asleep. Got my workout and I'm brushing my teeth. It's time to study, it's turning 6. The young in their room still sleeping like bricks. Pray to my spirit God need an assist. Spirit God told me I'm being too strict. Yelling and screaming too much. Each moment seems like a fuss. Adrenals out of sequence, frequency frequently. So I've been seeking the secrets of us. Spirit God told me I stay on the move and don't make enough room for some breathing and touch. But we can adjust. Spirit God told me to be sure I'm sleeping by dusk and trust. Cause you gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. No one else can do it for you, King. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. No one else can do it for you, Queen. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. No one else can do it for you, King. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. You need some time to do yoga. Tell other priorities to move over. Know who you are when you sober. Put down the liquor, put down the doja just for a day. If it's too hard, you're nowhere close to yourself, you're too far. Some of us stay on the bottom like tar. Some of us rise up as high as a star. Some of us stay in a melancholy state of mind, looking up and don't try at the bar. Which one of you? 1, 2, or 3? You and yourself need to come to agree. Only opinion that matters is your inner chatter, and that's how it has to just be. Well, yours and the Lord's, of course, but God is what's happening above. Down here, you gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. No one else can do it for you, King. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. No one else can do it for you, Queen. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. No one else can do it for you, King. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. No one else can do it for you. What's your perception when you look in the mirror and see your reflection? Do you see royalty and perfection? Do you feel loyalty and connection? Do you feel like you're favored with blessings? You're greater than, do you feel less than? What's your biggest fears? What brings you to tears? Your peers, it appears, no affection. Or do you feel stressed from the way people looked as you left cause you came with aggression? Or is it the fame and protection you seek that depletes you, defeats you, depression? This song is a pill that I'm given that's too hard to swallow from deep indigestion. But I hope it leaves an impression and keeps you progressing. The message is you gotta love. You gotta love. No one else can do it for you, king. You gotta love. You gotta love. No one else can do it for you, queen. You gotta love. No one else can do it for you, king. You gotta love. You gotta love. No one else can do it for you, queen.